20-year-old sea monster.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and you know what they named it?
What?
Larry King.
Let me ask you something.
We love Larry. It's good to hear his name.
The person
Good to
we got
say his
direct
name.
advice from before we started doing this show
Larry King.
was Larry King. Larry
Yeah.
King helped us in the infancy of this show. And now all we do, all you do,
Make fun of Larry
is make
King.
fun of Larry.
And you know who likes it more than anybody?
I hope Larry.
It's Larry
I hope
King.
he does.
He does. He sits there
Please, Larry,
at the
please.
Brooklyn Water Bagel Factory, and he's happy. He's happy. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Cowboys are rolling. The Bears shut down the Rams, and Patrick Mahomes does it again. But we begin today with the oddest, the most arresting, the most unbelievable play in the NFL in years. The two lateral, time running out miracle of a touchdown that covered 69 yards and enabled the Dolphins to beat the Patriots 34-33. This is the number one highlight today and for the rest of the year.
All year.
Wilbon, all credit to the Dolphins, or did Belichick blow it by having Gronk out there?
Oh, you know, one of my favorite phrases is that both things can be true. And this is where both things are true. The Dolphins get lavish praise.
Yeah, they
You
do.
praise the Dolphins to the heavens. They deserve every word of it. And usually Bill Belichick does too. 99 times out of 100. I mean, I hate to say Belichick's the greatest of all time because I'm old enough to remember Vince Lombardi and what his teams did and how much they won.
But he's in the sentence.
Yes.
He's in the sentence.
So Bill Belichick, yeah.
Yeah.
Not today. He says, well, Gronk has got to be back there in case for the deep pass. There's no 70-yard deep pass coming from anybody in the Miami Dolphins quarterback jersey.
That's right.
Not now.
Not Tannehill.
And so you
Nope.
got Devin McCourty, and if I'm right, I think he wears 32. I didn't see him out there. So a real starting safety, a guy you depend upon to build your defense around, is not out there on the most important play of the game. But Gronk is. Belichick gets the blame for that. He took it.
And he took it. And just to amplify on that for people that are not understanding, if you watch any of these lateral plays, if you have a fast DB out there, they push somebody out of bounds. Gronk stumbled, couldn't get there. It's the most amazing thing. When I was doing the podcast this morning, somebody said, well, what about the Music City Miracle? And I said, whoa, that's just a throw across the field and up the sideline. This had so many more moving parts to it. This was amazing. What I wanted to focus on, and it gets lost in this, is the sort of corollary importance of that play. Kansas City is out there in overtime. They can lose that game. Baltimore's playing them great. The Patriots can't lose this game. It's impossible to lose this game. So if that happens, if Kansas City loses and the Patriots win, because the Patriots had beaten Kansas City,
home field's in their hands.
The whole
Wait a minute,
time.
I'm going to take
Now
you one
it's
step
gone.
further.
It's gone.
Is there a greater significance other than just the play to New England losing that way?
Well, I think
losing that game.
Look,
is there something else that we should be looking into and saying, wait a minute.
Yes.
It's symbolic of this.
Their defense is not nearly as good as their defense has been over the years with Bill Belichick. But, and you got to throw the but in, they lose in Miami a lot.
Yeah.
Brady's 7-10 in Miami. So that counterbalances itself. It does. But they don't look as good as they used to.
I've watched that play 35, 40
We're going to see it another 100.
I'm happy to see it.
It's great.
And every time, it's like the Stanford band play. Not quite that interesting, but close.
Great play.
At least the Zebras stayed out of Miami's way, which is more than you can say for the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, the Cowboys won, and yes, Amari Cooper, with a big assist from Dak Prescott, was great again. But there's no skipping over the fact that the officials blew what should have been a Cowboys fumble on the opening kickoff. There was also a bogus call against an Eagles tight end, pass interference late, though Philly scored on that possession.
They scored.
So, Tony, does the botched call early take anything away from the Cowboys' win?
Here's what it's going to take away from. It's going to take away from Malcolm Jenkins, if I have this quote right, when he said, whoever's watching that in New York should stay off the bottle.
Okay.
That's going to cost some money. Yeah, that's going to cost some money. It's the first play of the game. There's 59 minutes plus
Tone setter.
I'm going to say this, that I'm not taking anything away from the Cowboys. And the Cowboys have now won 5 in a row. Yeah. The Eagles got to 2 in a row and gassed. The Cowboys didn't choke like the Eagles said they were going to choke. And Amari Cooper.
They came close.
Let me give you.
When you go for it,
that was a crazy
fourth
call.
and 1 in overtime instead of kicking a 37-yard field goal.
Kick the field goal.
They tried to choke it away.
But they got the first down, and then they scored a touchdown. You mentioned Amari Cooper. We sat here when Jerry Jones made that trade and said this would change the season. We scoffed. We didn't think it might change the season. Well, it really has.
Yes, for them.
Here is Amari Cooper over the games he's played. 6 games, 40 catches, 642 yards, 6 touchdowns. Yesterday, Mike, in the fourth quarter in the overtime, that's not a lot. 7 catches, 163 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Dak Prescott, who's not that accurate a passer, was then.
Didn't
he
go
was
for
in the fourth in the overtime.
The third highest total by a Cowboys quarterback ever?
I'm gonna give the Cowboys credit on this one.
I'll give them credit. It's a little tainted. And the fourth and yard, I know Jerry Jones can crow later it was the right call. If they had gotten stuffed and the Eagles had gotten the ball and moved 25 yards for a field goal, the Cowboys would look like the choking dogs they are often late in the season.
Can I get into another issue here? What? Do you think it's fair in a 10-minute overtime?
First of all, overtime should be 15 minutes.
If a team goes all the way down to 1
and the other team
minute?
Then stop them.
Well, I knew you would say that. I knew you said, shouldn't they guarantee at least, say, 3 minutes to the second team on a field goal?
Offense is guaranteed too much in this world anyway in all sports. So, no, I don't believe in that.
I thought
the Cowboys, Dak Prescott has come under far too much criticism. But, yes, the trade for Cooper, Tony. Cooper and Khalil Mack. Let me ask you something.
Raiders gave
How
up.
dumb are the Raiders who want to get rid of their GM who didn't even probably make these decisions to get rid of those two season-swinging players?
They're going to be in the top 10 in MVP. Now, it depends on who the Raiders get in the draft for them. It depends on that.
5 years down the road.
You would like to have both those guys
yes, you
back.
would.
The Chicago Bears smothered the LA Rams last night.
Kill job.
The Rams entered the game averaging 35 points per game, and they left with 6. MVP candidate Todd Gurley got 28 yards. Jared Goff intercepted 4 times. Sean McVay, for all his genius, got nothing. Wilbon, you love defense. So, are you now a believer that defense can win a Super Bowl this year?
I don't know, Tony. I mean, the league has done everything it can to make sure that the Bears and the Ravens are not able to advance.
Because they're the best two.
They're the best two.
That's right.
Other teams like the Saints and the Rams, they have guys who make defensive plays. They don't make that. They don't smother you for an entire game. I'm encouraged by this. That's a real Bears victory. That's real football to me, not 54-51. You can have that garbage all you want. What they did last night to, yes, the genius young coach and the great young quarterback who's in the top 5 MVP with Jared Goff, they snuffed them like it was the 1980s. So I'm happy for that.
So let me get to the extended point here, which is to do this, you have to win 3 games to win the Super Bowl. Can Mitch Trubisky get you 21 points when you need 21 points?
I think he could get you 21. The other 8 to 11 have to come from the defense.
See, have
to come from a return.
I'm going to give the Rams a mulligan on this. A couple of weeks ago, when the Cowboys throttled the Saints, they beat them 13-10. I said, you get one bad game. You get one bad.
I agree with that.
The Saints scored nothing, I think, in the first quarter, but they finished with 28 yesterday. So I'm going to give the Rams a mulligan. And you know why they're going to get a mulligan from me?
Have a bad game. They were forced into a bad game.
Okay, but here's why they get the mulligan from me. They're never going to have to play in the cold outdoors in the playoffs.
Don't count
no, they're not.
Yet. Don't ring it up.
The Bears are not going to catch them. They're 2 behind them. They're not going to catch them.
That's why I told you
so
the Bears lost to the Giants.
They're going to play in L.A. and they're going to play in New Orleans. You know what? And they won't have this.
I'll tell you something. Offense doesn't necessarily travel, as we saw yesterday. Defense does travel. Okay?
Always.
So that defense on dry land and warm temperatures, that defense can snuff them again. I don't want to see the Rams again.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I think
but I'm just saying, you're counting
I think in a comparison of the Bears and the Ravens, I think I'm inclined towards the Ravens a little bit because I think their offense is a little bit better. They've honed it better with Lamar Jackson. They hand the ball off so much. They seem to know what they're doing. But these are the only 2 teams that can win. The Bears and the Ravens.
They the only
on defense.
Real defense?
On defense.
Sustained defense?
Some people will say the same thing.
You know what? That win gave me as much satisfaction last night as just about any win since 1985. You know how long ago
I'll give you one more team that might be able to sustain defense.
Who?
Dallas.
Maybe. Dallas is, I believe, giving up the league low in points allowed so far. The Rams weren't the only team with expectations to lose yesterday. The Steelers and Ravens were both beaten, both dramatically. The Ravens by the magic of Pat
4th and 9.
In Kansas City. The Steelers by a bad rug in that dump of a stadium in Oakland. The Steelers still lead the Ravens by half a game. Tony, it leads me to ask you this. Who do you have with 3 more games remaining?
I'm going to put on the glasses. I'm going to put on the glasses. I'm going to get to that.
Steelers
I just want to say
or
this.
Ravens?
I know what you're saying. I just want to say this. That game, Chiefs-Ravens, on what was the best weekend of the NFL so far, that was the best game. That game was
great.
thrilling, a thrilling game. Okay, the Steelers are going the wrong way right now. They have lost three in a row. If you closed your eyes, you would look at the Carolina Panthers, who are going the wrong way. We don't believe in them. So let's look at the schedules. Pittsburgh, home against New England. A New England team. They can win, but a New England team that is angry about what happened.
Okay. I don't know about the Patriots
at the Saints. Don't think they win that game. Home Cincinnati. 2-1 will get them the division.
Right.
All right. Baltimore. Home Tampa Bay. They win that game.
Baltimore goes 3-0.
At Chargers. That's a hard game.
That's a hard game.
It's a very hard game. And home Browns. That looks to 2-1 to me. So to me, the critical game is New England at Pittsburgh.
Yes, Pittsburgh has to win this game at home this week.
Yep.
I don't know. I have faith in great defense. And I like what Lamar Jackson is doing. I don't know that he can sustain that.
Well, he's got too many fumbles.
Pressure
he's got too many fumbles.
Well, if you have too many fumbles,
stop fumbling the ball.
And you played November, what's going to happen in December?
Stop fumbling.
I think I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think the Steelers will lose 2 out of 3?
I think the Steelers.
New England Saints. You think they lose?
Beat New England.
Well,
I know they can lose
to Cincinnati.
But I'm saying I think the Ravens can win all 3.
At Chargers.
Yeah.
Chargers pretty good.
They're really good.
Chargers
They don't seem to be
good.
taking a nap in December like they often are. But I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Can we spend the rest of the time talking about Pat Mahomes?
How
about him?
Is Fran Tarkenton.
How about him?
He has eyes in the back of his head. Okay, the ultimate play is running 32 yards to your right. Scramble. They want to scramble.
This is the 4th and 9.
It's a dead run.
It's the 4th and 9.
And he throws the ball 43 yards down the field. That's Fran Tarkenton to me.
So watching that
magic.
play,
He's a wizard.
watching that play in real time, Tony Romo is doing the call. And Tony Romo says at the moment of that play, he says, only Aaron Rodgers, maybe, only Aaron Rodgers is the guy who makes that same throw. Then he comes back on the next 4th down, and he gets a touchdown.
Who's the MVP right now? Drew Brees or Pat Mahomes?
I still think it's Brees.
Who's had a better season? Individual, just a better season.
The reason you would say Mahomes is because he came out of nowhere.
He's a kid.
But Brees is having one of the great seasons of all.
Be a hard vote, though.
Let's take a break. Coming up, did Joe Philbin prove himself as Aaron Rodgers' play caller?
Why don't we wait till this coming Sunday and find out for real? Could the Bulls players really force the organization to dump its new coach?
Yes, lose by 56.
Yes, I want to lose every game. You know why?
56.
Who's at the top of the draft?
Somebody from Duke.
His name?
No, there's 3 guys.
No, his name.
Oh, you want Zion Williamson.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Pardon the Interruption is brought to you by Ace, the helpful place.
The Equal.
It is time for you to pick the topics and for us to be disappointed, so let me see what.
One day the emailers are going to turn on you, what you call the littles.
Did Joe Philbin earn your respect?
I mean, I don't know if he earned mine. He earned his own players' respect, which is all as important. They gave him a game ball. They went crazy in the locker room as if he was Vince Lombardi walking through that door again. I'd like to reserve some judgment. They beat Atlanta. You know, I never talk smack about Bears-Packers, never. But I've told you for 3 weeks, even with Philbin, when they come to Chicago next week, they're going to take a L. That's what I believe. So let's reserve judgment until they play a real varsity team.
So I'm watching the Red Zone, and it's about 5 minutes after 1, and Scott Hansen, who I watch, comes on and says that Joe Philbin has made 2 unsuccessful challenges already in the first minute and a half of the game.
He was out.
So he has 58 and a half minutes
to not challenge.
He has no challenge.
That's right.
Now,
Matter.
At one point, the Packers were up 34-7. I think what this is about is the liberation of Aaron Rodgers, that Mike McCarthy was no longer there. I think it has to be noted that he personally gave Philbin that game ball.
It's great.
And he praised him to the skies. But I think it was his liberation.
It's one thing to liberate somebody in Lambeau against the Atlanta Falcons. It's another one.
I know, you're on the record. You've gotten a lot of things wrong lately.
What have I gotten wrong lately?
You got the Heisman Trophy winner wrong, and you got the Eagles-Cowboys wrong.
I said it was going to be Murray.
No, actually you didn't. Go check the tape.
Get the tape.
You said Tua. Go ahead.
No, it was like 6 weeks ago when you had Tua being unanimous.
It was Thursday.
How'd that go for you?
Thursday. Check the tape.
Did you have Tua as unanimous?
No. I had Kyler Murray.
Please.
Check
Should the Sixers change the way they're playing to keep Joel Embiid happy?
Okay, I am rapidly reaching the breaking point with Joel Embiid's view of the universe that only he matters through tweets and unbelievably self-absorbed comments. Since Jimmy Butler came to that team, they are 9-3. They were 9-6 before that, so do the math on this. Jimmy Butler is important. Jimmy Butler, 4 All-Star appearances, Joel Embiid won. Again, do the math. If Joel Embiid is unhappy with this, that's a terrible indictment of Joel Embiid because they're better now.
I won't say it's a terrible indictment. I'm going to say that their coaching staff, which really sort of loves itself, do some work with Joel Embiid. He wants to worry about space in the floor. Then let him get his big behind closer to the rim where for 100 years, guys who are 7 feet needed to play. He shouldn't be operating in the same space as Jimmy Butler. And if his scoring goes down from 28 to 23, it's probably good. It's a good thing for the team.
I am self-absorbed. I can't touch that guy.
I don't know now. Let's be the judge.
Should Bulls management, whoever they may be, dump their new coach because the team has problems with him?
Well, these are extremes. You don't have to dump the new coach. You don't, Jim Boylan, you don't have to dump him. You just have to shut up and wait.
Joe Boylan.
Let's see how he performs. Jim Boylan. Okay. Let's see what happens, okay? Because the team said, we're not going to have an 8-hour practice.
What did they lose by?
They lost by 56.
56.
And let me just say, I believe that 56 is the biggest margin of losing a game in the history of that franchise.
Yes, it is. It is.
So they lost. They got crushed. He wanted to have a long Sunday practice. The players said, no, we're not having that. This is a stunning thing to me. Once this gets out and once you try to backtrack it and act like you suggested it, then you're not the head coach they're looking for, probably, but you get the rest of the season.
This is your account, so I'm not going to be long.
I just told you what I think.
There is zero chance that this guy is the coach next year.
I wouldn't say that.
Zero chance.
I wouldn't say that.
You lose by 56.
Wow.
And your players make it into mutiny on the bounty.
Yeah.
You're not going to be around next year. They'll get a big draft
Maybe
pick.
you shouldn't be.
Somebody wearing Duke right now. We'll see what happens.
Last one.
See what
I'd
happens.
be very happy.
56.
That would be like a Khalil Mack
horrific.
situation.
56 is horrific.
To the Celtics.
Horrific.
That's awful. Did the Baseball Hall of Fame just get devalued? This is a cheap shot question.
The Veterans
Emailer's
Committee...
taking a cheap shot at 2 Chicago guys. I don't like that.
The Veterans Committee elected Lee Smith and Harold Baines.
You and Lee Smith have history.
Lee Smith is arguable to get into the Hall of Fame. When he retired, he had more saves than anybody, though I think you will agree nobody put him in the category with Dennis Eckersley or Mariano Rivera.
I think he was deserving.
This is about Harold Baines.
Yeah.
Because Harold Baines, over a 22-year career, batted .289 and had 384 home runs. He never, from the baseball writers, never drew more than 6.1% of the vote, and you need 75%. I'm
going to give you one argument for Harold Baines.
Can I just say, I think he is in the hall of the very good.
Okay, let me give you one argument.
Not the hall.
Let me give you one argument.
Go ahead.
There is no one in the history of baseball with that many home runs and that many hits who's not in or only kept out because of steroids. Yeah. Nobody.
So
guys who are going to be voted in shortly.
I think he was put in because many of the people on the committee, he had worked for them.
He's on a list with guys all in the hall. I'm just saying, that many home runs, Tony, 380
if he
and
didn't play for the White
you know what,
Sox,
that's 403,000 or close.
It's not 400 or
95%. Huh?
Enough email. Let's take one last break, but still to come. Down goes Gonzaga. Could Tennessee be the best team in the country?
No, and I'll tell you who is. And should we take Steph Curry seriously when he questions whether the moon landing happened?
Harold Baines, very, very good. Hall of Fame, not to me.
I'm just saying, I gave you an argument.
I know,
3,400.
He gave me the argument because he was a White Sox.
When dominoes.
And again.
Simon, distinguished NBA ref, was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame a few years ago. At his induction, Bavetta divided the audience into 3 groups. He had one group scream, "Oh no!" He had the second group scream, "Bad call!" Had the third group scream, "Get a job!" That's why we love Dick Bavetta.
I know you feel this way. When you walked into a gym and you saw Bavetta was working the game that night you were covering,
happy.
It made you happy, didn't it?
Happy.
During the game, he had stuff funny to say.
Absolutely.
During the game, to us anyway.
Not so happy anniversary, Carson Wentz. On this day last year, the Eagles starting quarterback tore his ACL. At the time of his injury, Wentz led the league with 33 touchdowns and was legitimate MVP candidate for the then 11-2 Eagles. Much to the surprise of most, Nick Foles stepped in and was terrific throughout the playoffs and the Super Bowl. This year, with Wentz healthy and Foles backing him up, the Eagles have capsized. Go figure.
Okay, Philly's crazy. Are there people calling for Foles because they've lost these couple of...
Can't imagine it, because Wentz has been... Wentz in
He's
the
been
fourth
good.
quarter...
He's been really
that
good.
That fourth quarter yesterday was great. Happy trails to the #1 ranking for Gonzaga.
Get out.
Gonzaga lost yesterday to #7 ranked Tennessee at a tournament in Phoenix. The Vols were led by the wonderfully named Admiral Schofield, who scored Tennessee's last 11 points in a 76-73 victory. That left room at the top for 8-0 Kansas, the new #1, and Kansas already owns an overtime win over Tennessee. Tennessee rose to #3 right behind Duke. Gonzaga, which had beat Duke already, slid to 4 just ahead of 10-0 Michigan at 5.
And that's too bad because Michigan's the best team in the country. Iggy Brestdakis. Have you seen him play yet?
Yes, I have.
I think he's one of the 5 best players in the country now. It's his first year.
I'm partial to Iggy Pop. One correction, the Ravens, not the Cowboys, Mike, lead the NFL in fewest points
By
allowed
1
per
point.
game. Big finish, here we go.
Let's do it.
The Nuggets signed Swaggy
Yeah.
P. What?
Is marijuana legal in Colorado?
I believe so.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Steph Curry questioned whether man actually landed on the moon. Your thoughts?
I assume this is an homage to Kyrie Irving. I hope he doesn't
Funny.
believe this. Washington plans to stick with Josh Johnson as their starting quarterback. Is that the right call?
He played pretty well in that stint he had against the Giants.
Yes, he did.
He's the best they got.
Right now.
I mean, he is.
Right now.
Jim Harbaugh says he's staying at Michigan. Surprised?
No, I'm not. I think he thinks he can beat Ryan Day. I think he wants to stay till he beats Ohio
Beat
State.
Ryan
don't you think?
Day,
Last
come
one,
on.
Vikings and Seahawks tonight. That is a good game. Who you got?
I can tell you who I want.
Oh, you want
The
the
Seahawks win that game. The Bears' magic number is 1, baby. Come on now.
Chicago-centric, isn't it?